And welcome to the Merle Unlocked Podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Luck.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shameful, hopefully pointless banter, lack of focus, and quest for the acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. So you have a topic for us today, Luck. Why don't you hit us with it?
I do. Just doing my typical nightly routine, brushing the teeth and whatnot, and I just got my cat into a routine. Cats love routine. Here I am brushing my teeth, and my cat hasn't been getting a whole lot of water like she should, so I figured I'll put a little cup of water out. Here I am, I'm filling up a cup so that I can swish, and my cat's like, meh, 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 meh. Almost as if to say, you're wasting it. And she stares down into the sink as I'm spitting out the water. And I'm like, hold on, it's my turn. You would just wait a second. I dump everything out, I clean everything out, and I fill up some water into the cup, and I sit it down for her. And she goes, meh, and starts drinking water. And I'm like, you're welcome. And so it brought up an idea where I was just like, it's just pets. And they have these quirky personalities. I couldn't get over it. I was just like, this is the funniest thing. Now, she's done a lot of funny things, but it's almost like we can understand it, or at least it feels like we understand it. We like to think we do. Have you had any experience with pets and little quirky personalities of their own? Because I know I have plenty of stories, but we can kind of pass it back and forth.
It's kind of odd when it comes to pets, and I've taken care of a lot of pets. I used to do that for extra money on the side, board dogs. The different types of personalities that I've come across in all these different dogs, it helped me to develop an appreciation for the differences and trying to adapt to different pets and the way they act. First of all, that whole comment about routine. Yes, animals absolutely love routine, something that's familiar, and developing a particular schedule, because that's how I would bring comfort to dogs all the time in my place. They would always be nervous at first. They didn't feel like they belonged. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what was going on. And we would very quickly develop a routine. And I wouldn't treat the dogs special. I wouldn't cater to them. I just go about my business, and they would follow me around and see what I was doing and start to notice the routine that I was forming around them. And they would fall in line with it, and they would develop a comfort. And instead of following me around, they would start laying down. Every time I got up to do something, they wouldn't think anything of it, because they're like, oh, he's just doing such and such. I got nothing to worry about, nothing to expect, because I already know what he's up to. So that was always a way of creating comfort in the home. Now, the thing that bugs me is, especially online, when it comes to different dogs or different pets, these certain quirks that they have, people are always like, oh, that's a poorly trained dog, and they should act a particular way. This, that, and the other. Everybody else knows best, right?
That's right.
Yeah. It irks me to no end, because I'm like, there is no way that any dog can be the same as every other dog.
Why not?
They can develop routines, yes, and they find comfort in that, and they relax more. They have less anxiety. Admittedly, yes, that works very well for a lot of pets. But they still have this particular personality that they develop over time, usually coming about from their owners, their families, which naturally no person is the same either. So they develop personalities based on the home and what they're subjected to or what they experience. I know anxiety, an unfavorable trait that's often posted online, like dogs having anxiety and acting erratically because of that anxiety. Anxiety isn't a personality. Now, what was the point I was making? When it comes to all these posts online, I've grown an appreciation for watching those. I know it's one of those things where it's like funny cat videos, funny dog videos.
Yeah, I like to watch those on occasion. Those are good.
Those are some of my favorites, just to relax to. Scroll past all the political chaos and whatnot and find a funny dog video or something, and I'm happy.
All is right in the world again.
Yeah, I could go to bed after that one. They have their own minds. They have their own experiences. They have their own owners, their own families. But yes, as far as routine goes, I know the routine isn't the topic of the day. It's more so personalities. But I just want to make sure that people realize that anxiety is not a personality. It's just a certain level of discomfort, and they just have to find comfort in routine.
You're going to upset the people who use anxiety as their personal trait.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, animals.
Animals we're talking about here.
So back when my cat, I still had her sister before she sadly moved on. You could tell just the big personality difference just between the two, where one was so much more chill, very adventurous, just kind of wandering around. The other one was a menace to society. Just constantly getting into trouble. She had a lot of energy. Now, she was calico, but long fur. She used to actually love when you would slide her across the kitchen room floor with your feet. She would roll on her side just so that you would push her across the kitchen floor. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, that's the goofiest thing that you would do. I'm pretty sure she had a foot fetish. There were times where you'd open up the freezer and then she'd come over and start licking your toes. And I'm like, stop it. Stop it. I don't know what's worse, a cat licking your toes or a dog licking your toes. Both feel mighty disturbing to me.
I feel like dog tongues are much more adventurous. You know, they get into more nooks and crannies.
Jeez. No.
It's kind of odd.
I don't want to.
You know, as far as cats go, it's their tongues are street sandpaper. It's like, jeez.
We can also get into Jane Doe's dog, who definitely has his own personality, does not like to share attention. She knows this to be true.
Yeah,
She can sit there and be like, he's a baby. He will always be a baby. Just like my cat Roxy will always be a baby. They are our children, but he does not like when you give the cat attention over him. All toys are his toys. If he hears the squeaking or jingling of a cat toy, he cries for it.
He's spoiled is all. I get that.
No, him spoiled. We both spoil our animals. I feel that's just the way it is. We spoil our animals because we love them. And how else do you show animals that you love them? You can't just kiss them and hug them forever.
I've seen this a lot in dogs, not necessarily in cats, but it's a rule in the household. Let's consider my daughter's dog. He mostly stays with my daughter's mother. When he's in that household, yes, he is babied and catered to and given a lot of attention. And then when he comes here and stays with me, he's just a member of the household. He's not catered to. He's not looked upon constantly to bring comfort, to the point where all he does here is relax. He doesn't feel that anxiety to perform. So whenever he's at my daughter's mother's house, he's always up and about and trying to act cute and being an absolute ham. He's like shaking constantly, I guess, because he's always being paid attention to. Whereas here is laid back. I don't expect anything of you. You're just a member of the household. We'll get on with our business. We'll maintain a schedule and we'll get on. I don't know if it's relief.
Whew, I finally got the chill for the week.
Yeah. I can't say for certain whether it's that or if he's just depressed that he's not getting enough attention. So he's just chilling.
I feel like people will argue that, yes, he is not given enough attention.
Yeah, naturally people are going to be like, oh, you need to pet and cater to him constantly.
The poor boy.
He's so sad. But I'm like, he doesn't seem sad. He's just relaxing. Like he'll sit in my lap all day and just sleep. I'm like, yeah, we'll just chill here until it's time to go for walkies. And even when we go on a walk, I don't go, oh, you want to go walkies, buddy? You want to go for a walk? No, I don't do anything like that. I just put him down on the floor. All right, let's go. And I walk over to the door with the leash and he just hobbles on over and we go out. You know, everything's chill. Everything's relaxed. He knows the routine everything is simplified.
We had started a thing with her dog. You look at him and you say, what do you need? And if he needs to go potty, he immediately reacts. Because if he hears the word, you need to go potty, or what do you need? I think it's just the need that he hears. And he's like, I know what I need. I had brought it up because one day he went up and like pounced at the door. This is what I need. And I go, I kind of like that. So we got him into kind of a routine with showing us that he needs to go out. So we play dumb. Like, we don't know at all what time it is, or, we're like, what do you need? And he'll look and he'll start whimpering and go, and then we're like, well, you got to show us because we're dumb. We don't know where you need to go. So he goes up and he pounces at the door, and sometimes he's just like, I can't believe I have to do this every time.
I don't know what's better because I've done it both ways where, I mean, nowadays it's a schedule. Every few hours we'll go out and we'll go for a walk. You save it until that time. They can be expectant. Oh, I'm fine. We're going for a walk not too far from now. I just getting into the habit of doing that. But back in early days, when I used to have a pit bull, what we did for him was we hung these bells from the doorknob of the front door. And every time we would go out, we would just ring the bells real quick, and then we would go outside. And he got into the habit of every time he had to go potty, he would go up to the door and he would ring the bells. I'd be like, oh, okay, we'll go potty. Then it got to the point where every hour he would go up and start ringing the bells because he wanted to go out.
Yeah. No, that's the other thing that kind of started when we started getting him to pounce up at the door and just kind of like hit it with his front paws. Then he could go out and he at least went pee or something. And then all of a sudden I get home from work and he's jumping up at the door, and she's like, I just took him out an hour before you got home. And I was like, there's no way that he needs to go. And I'm like, no, you can relax a little bit. Calm your ass down.
I mean, I guess you have to consider energy expenditure too. With most of the dogs that I've cared for, we would walk about 2 hours a day. It would get to the point where in between going out for walks, they would mostly just nap. Probably because they weren't used to walking that much every day. Most people don't have the time for it, which I completely understand. But dogs love it, and they adapt well to burning off all that energy that they have.
That they do. I just wish, because my cat used to be pretty playful, and then she got to a point where she was kind of lazy, and you try to play with her, and she'd be like, you got to bring that toy over to me. And then she'll swat at it, and then she'd get tired of it, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're done playing already.
Well, she is getting up there in age, and
she is. She's my old girl. She's still hanging tight. She still acts like a kitten some days, but then there's other days where I think she's having some issues with her movements. You know what I mean? Like her bowels. Usually when she's having these issues, she yowls, and then you hear a nom 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 nom. And you're like, what the hell is that? And that's when I know she's getting ready to throw up. When she goes, nom, 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 a lot of tongue. And then when she throws up, she usually finally goes, but it's not where it should go, in the litter box. I try not to be mad because she's getting older. She's having some issues, and we're trying to work through it. We're trying to get things better for her, hoping that she gets enough water so that things work themselves out, But the fact that I caught that routine, I figured out that that's what's happening. It just makes me extra cautious as an owner. Luckily, it's not an everyday routine, so it's not a whole lot of cause for concern. It might happen once a week, or like space out between, have a really good week or 2 weeks, and then it happens again. So I don't know if it's just because of what she's eating, or if it's not eating enough or not drinking enough. We're trying to work it out.
Animals, man.
Gotta love them.
Gotta love them. If you enjoy the Merle and Locke podcast, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke, or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.